In case you've been living under a rock, the IRS has extended the tax deadline universally from April 15th to July 15th of 2020. That's awesome. The accounting profession, they really lobbied for this. We really wanted this to get extended and pushed back because of current global events that are going on. A lot of people are hurting. A lot of people need this extended time, which is great. But here I have 3 reasons why you shouldn't wait for that extended deadline of July 15th. Instead, you should go ahead and file now. But if this is the first time we've met, my name's Kip Lewis. I'm a CPA, I have my master's degree in accountancy with an emphasis in taxation, and I spend a lot of time looking into tax laws and regulations and other tax stuff. Let's get into this video. The first of those reasons is due to fraudulent filing. You'll notice here on screen I have a report that essentially what it is this is the interim report on the audit performed on the IRS. Wow, that was a mouthful. What does that mean? It's basically this entity, the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, they went through and they did an audit of the IRS. And this is for the 2018 tax year, and so the report was issued in 2019. So here in this interim report, what we're going to focus mostly on is here about middle of the screen, detecting and preventing tax refund fraud. When we click on that, scroll down just a little bit. Below this redacted portion, it says, as of February 23rd, 2019, the IRS reported and identified over 3,500 fraudulent tax returns with approximately 15.8 million claimed in fraudulent refunds. That averages out to about $4,500 per fraudulent tax return, and that's just by February 23rd. That's within the first 60 days of when the tax year ended. And really, the IRS doesn't start accepting tax returns until the end of January. It's within the first 30 days of the IRS accepting returns, they've already caught 3,500 fraudulent tax returns with 15.8 million in refunds being claimed. That's a lot. If we go to the full report, which we're going to switch over to that now. So here we have that full report. You can see, again, we're going to focus mostly on the detecting and preventing tax fraud. Again, right below that redacted portion, as of April 27th, 2019, the IRS reported that it identified 58,000 fraudulent tax returns with approximately 345.5 million claimed in fraudulent refunds. Wow, that is crazy. That is so much. So less than 60 days later, they have way more than 10 times the fraudulent returns found and way more than 10 times the fraudulent refunds being claimed. And this doesn't include numbers associated with identity theft. As we scroll down just a little bit further, we can see there's a section that shows detection of tax returns involving identity theft. As of April 27, 2019, they identified more than 3 million tax returns with refunds totaling approximately $14.7 billion for additional review as a result of identity theft filters. So, what does this mean? Why am I bringing this up? This means that there are people out there who are taking your identity, trying to file a tax return using your information, using your children's information, using information that does not belong to them. And they try and file early. Remember, this is just barely after the tax deadline, April 15th. What is that? 12 days later, they've released this report showing this much has already happened as of the deadline. So if the new deadline is July 15th, how many of those fraudsters are going to use your information to file a tax return and try and get a refund that they don't deserve? I'll let you think about that. Although I really like the idea of this extended tax deadline, this is a caution that I think everyone needs to be aware of. So everyone really should be filing their taxes as soon as possible, especially if you're going to get a refund. And this is my point number 2. If you're going to get a refund, you should be filing your taxes now. We can see here on the irs.gov website that the tax day is now July 15th, which is awesome. I'm going to read a quote from the IRS commissioner. It says, even with the filing deadline extended, you can read along with me, middle of the page, we urge taxpayers who are owed refunds to file as soon as possible and file electronically. Filing electronically with a direct deposit is the quickest way to get refunds. And then it goes on to say that they've gotten rid of some of their non-mission critical operations, but they're still accepting tax returns and they're still sending out refunds. And I can say by experience that this is true. I filed my tax return about 3.5, 4 weeks ago, and early last week I got my refund direct deposited. So this is true. This is still happening. they are still accepting returns and still sending out refunds. So especially in the climate today, and especially where there's so much uncertainty with things, if you know you're going to get a refund, you should file now. There's no reason for you to procrastinate and put it off. And my final point is really, it's just here in the title of this article. IRS extended filing deadline and federal tax payments regardless of amount owed. So even if you owe money, you don't have to pay that money until July 15th. You might as well file now and wait to pay. I know me as a tax preparer, I would much rather people bring in their documents now. We'll prepare it, we'll file it, and then when they want to send in the money, they can. As long as you have your payment stamped, like postmarked, by July 15th, it's not going to be late. No interest, no penalties. It's awesome. I've had several clients ask me, hey, should we just wait? Let's just hold off and we can file closer to the actual deadline now. And I said, there's no reason to do that. You're not going to have to pay until July 15th. So let's go ahead and file it now and then not have to deal with the stress as it gets closer. And so especially if you're someone who hasn't done a lot of tax planning, you may not know if you're going to get a refund or if you're going to owe. In either of those cases, you're still better off filing now and then either getting your refund sooner or knowing exactly how much you're going to be owing. I would much rather know now. Knowledge is really half the battle. Paying it is probably the more painful half of the battle. But the whole point is you know what you owe if you file instead of just guessing, having an estimate. So those are my 3 reasons. If you don't file now, someone else might file for you, and you won't get the benefits of it. If you file now, you do get the benefit. You'll either get the refund or you'll have the knowledge of what you owe. And I think that's more valuable than just pushing it off and procrastinating it. I hope you found this video valuable. And if you did, I encourage you to hit that like button and then go ahead and subscribe. That way you can get more tax tips and tools to answer the questions you didn't know you had. Until next time, happy tax season.